Hello, I'm Patricia Muir, and I am the founder of Thrive. Thrive is a program or a series of programs for women who are returning to work during and after cancer, and for those women who are enjoying their work after 60. And today I'm speaking to Donna about her perception of self care. Donna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you very much,
You're
Patricia,
welcome.
for having me here today. My name is Donna Smith. I'm the owner and founder of Duncam Services. I am a virtual assistant, and I'll just briefly tell you a bit about a virtual assistant. It's taking over any sort of duty, administrative duty, to allow you to spend more time with your family, your friends, put back in your business, or just do really what you love to do. So if you're interested in what a VA is, please feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Okay, that's great. That we're in Donna's backyard, where I'm sure she spends a lot of moments on self care, either with herself alone or with her family and friends. Donna, tell me what's important to you about self care?
What's important to me about self-care is it's how important it is to take care of yourself. You know, different stages of my life, care has meant different things to me. I've always been interested in doing stuff. As younger, I played squash. I'm a walker. But then, depending on the age of my kids, the time I had to do it. But I had quite a life change it'll be 3 years this fall. My mom was diagnosed with cancer and passed away within 7 weeks. And that was quite a moment for me. I just was like, wow. Didn't, you hear of it happening to other families and other people, and of course I feel terrible for them. But at that moment, you realize it's happening to us now. And that is a different perspective, totally. So after she passed away, I was kind of just wondering, wow, what just happened to me? And a really good friend of mine called and said, you should come to yoga. And I thought, okay. She goes, no, I mean tomorrow. So long story short, I went and I loved it. But it came into my life at a perfect time, because I don't know how much I would have enjoyed everything about yoga and the mind and the body had I not had this experience happen to me in my life. I would have respected it. I said, if that might work for you, but I don't think that's not really for me. But it was for me, and it is really good. And since then, I've taken an assisting class on my eating. I've just really started thinking a lot about myself, and I think to make somebody else happy or to be able to deal with other things, I have to have myself together. My husband and I got back from a beautiful European trip to find out my mother-in-law's house had burnt to the ground. And there's ways of handling things. There's two ways. Either you sit and feel sorry for yourself, or you think, okay, these are the cards that are dealt to me. How do I deal with this now? And I asked a lot of questions, and through insurance companies and lawyers and everything. You'd be amazed at what you can do when you have to do it, when you're really put in a position to do it, because people are relying on you. But again, you have to have a healthy mind and feel good about yourself in order to make somebody else happy.
Even to be able to deal with those tragic times
Yes.
and support other people, that's where a practice of self-care is really important.
Totally.
And sometimes, like I know in my experience, that's when my self-care suffered, because it was more than 50, 70, 90% taking care of a parent, right? And so that's when my self-care suffered. But I was aware of it, and I've spoken about the fact that there's physical self-care, mental self-care. That's where you take care of yourself so that you can look after all these things that are going on around you. But there's the emotional, especially when you're losing someone. That can take a huge toll. Yeah. So what do you do for your
Well, emotionally, that was probably my biggest thing to get over with my mom and dad passed away 2 years practically to the day of each other. And my mom, it really emotionally took a long time. And I never thought of myself being that way, because I always look at it as this big, strong person that can conquer anything. I have a lot of friends that come to rely on me for their own issues. And I realized that I remember the morning after sitting at my family room looking outside thinking, what just happened to me? So emotionally, it's a long time. And I've learned that grieving, what is grieving? Everybody grieves differently, and I think it becomes a way of life.
Yeah.
It becomes a way of life, and you just learn to live without your mom or your husband or unfortunately who's ever that person that you've lost. But the emotional, it's hard to explain to somebody until they go through it. It really, like physically, Nothing changed, you know. But emotionally was probably the biggest. But I think it has made me be a better person. I was always compassionate, but I think now I look at things now and I think life is very short. Number one, um, do what makes you happy within a perspective. Obviously, I mean you got to work, you got to maintain. You know, I don't mean
Well,
do whatever
hopefully
happy
you
like.
enjoy what you do for work.
Enjoy what you do for work, and you know, and if it's feasible for you, or you and your husband, or you and your partner, or just you by yourself to go do something, or do that trip, or do whatever, then do it, because you know what, life changes just like that. And then you know, it's really mind-boggling at times. You know, it's like, wow, and life goes on. That's another thing you have to realize. When something happens to you, sure, people are around and they welcome. Of course, they're all here. But then you know what? The next day, everybody's got their own lives. Life goes on.
Yeah.
It goes on, and it's not that they don't care. It goes on.
And so self-care then is important, because I'm going to take you back to when you talked about when you hear of other people going through loss, and you said you're a compassionate person. So being compassionate towards those people, actually self-care is very much about being compassionate towards ourselves, right? And compassion is also related to like our emotional health. So keeping our emotional health by having self-care around emotion, like boundaries and things like that, will actually allow us to have more time for compassion. And you talk about the fact that when you go on a walk, you have a way of going on a walk.
Yes.
And what is that? We'll end with that.
Okay. When I go on a walk, I really do prefer to walk by myself.
Right.
I really, really do. And my headphones on, my music, and I just go. And sometimes I come home and I think, I don't even remember walking where I walked, or as I'm walking, I'm just out there. I'm not thinking about anything. Or if I do have something to think about, I'll think about it. Or sometimes I just enjoy that 45 minutes to an hour, depending on my route. I can't walk without music though. Love my music. Listen to it and just sometimes just drift off, and why not?
Yeah.
Sometimes put on that song that maybe when I was a teenager, just turn it up loud, smile as I'm walking. Do you remember back to the days? But why not?
Yep.
Come home, it stuff's off, go into my office, I work from home, I'm a virtual assistant, sit down, get my workout, and then I'm ready for my day. Okay. And I feel good about myself. Like this morning before you came, I went to a 9:30 yoga class, a 9:30 deep flow yoga class. You know, I thought I can fit it in. I can get it in there. And it's really good. It's good to get out and stretch and think. And then I was thinking about today, and I felt prepared for it.
Good. Good.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, Donna.
Thank you.
I love some of the things that you talked about, like, you know, the care for ourselves while we're caring for someone else. And at different ages, that looks different. Like when we have teenagers, self-care looks different. It could just be a moment of locking yourself in the washroom. But when we're looking after parents, it changes. So we have to look at things a little deeper.
Totally. And when you're looking after your parents, like I said, I got into yoga after my mom passed away. Obviously, and she was sick. I stayed with her. I didn't leave. So self-care and myself at that 7 weeks was not the greatest, because my concern was my mom.
Yes.
And I knew her life was short, was not going to be very long. So I just cared about her. But once that was done, I agree. You've got to do something to make yourself happy. And the only way to make someone else happy is to be happy with yourself.
That's very important. Yeah,
totally.
Like that self-care translates into self-regard.
Yes.
And you look after yourself and you feel good about yourself, so you're able to be of service to other people.
Service to other people, totally. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you so much. That was a great chat.
Thank you.
Okay, then. So I'm going to put links to Donna's LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
And to your
Facebook
and Facebook, so that you can be in touch with Donna if you want to continue this conversation with her, or if you're interested. Do yourself a favor, if you're a business owner, a solo business owner especially, hire a virtual assistant. It makes a big difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.